Yeah, so welcome to a day in the life. This is just basically like a little bit of a run through. It's what I do in the mornings prior to training, and then what I'll do after work, etc., etc. Quite a few people have asked about what I do day to day, and as a typical bodybuilder, it's not that exciting. It's pretty the same shit day in and day out. So people have asking for it, so we'll go through things today. Murphy obviously will be a very prominent part in this video because he's a 17-week-old black lab, and he's a wonderful little being in my life. Made sure that I get all my steps in daily, and he's obviously been ramming those up. So yeah, but just because everyone's been asking for it, I thought I would deliver to you guys. So yeah, so today we're training push. So we are going to obviously get my supplements ready for that session. I have had meal one already, and that meal was just 3 bagel thins, 2 whole eggs, 4 turkey rashers, and some spinach. And then I'll obviously have my intra drink, my pre-workout drink, which does include some obviously Trained by JP supplements. So we'll go over those in a moment. Obviously been working through check-ins this morning as well. So you have a couple to do just to finish off before I go to train. And then yeah, so like I said, push on the cards today, so it should be a good session, but we'll take you through everything today. So now 11 weeks out, so 10 and a half on Wednesday, 11 weeks out, just Saturday just gone. Things are just ticking along. Again, like I said in like my last video, there's not really much that happens in the beginning of prep. Like you start to kind of come down. You don't see like those crazy changes that you kind of see when you're like 6 to 8 weeks out. So it's very much just kind of chipping away at what we've got at the moment. And then when things start to really ramp up, that's where things start to get really exciting. I say to a lot of people, you know, the beginning of prep is pretty boring because you sort of start to see that weight come down, but you don't really see huge visual changes like you would again at like 6 to 8 weeks out. So it's very much just about kind of plodding through, getting it done, and then once things start to spice up, that's when things start to get really fun. So yeah, that's when content will kind of increase because things will be more exciting. But no, so 11 weeks out, just plodding along. I'm literally just about to book for Toronto. I've booked to New York and things like that. I actually had my bikini consultation with my sponsor, Time to Shine, this morning. They've looked after my bikinis for all of my seasons actually now, apart from my first season ever when I first stood on stage in like 2019, sorry. And they are the best bikinis out there, honestly. As a female going and doing routines and stuff, you want a bikini that sits on you and you don't have to worry about nip slips and shit like that. So, and I've never ever, since starting with Time to Shine, ever worried about my bikini not fitting well, it snapping on stage, anything like that. So if you're looking for bikinis, then I would always recommend Time to Shine, not because, again, I'm associated with them. I used their bikinis way before I even was sponsored by them. So if you're looking for a solid bikini, Time to Shine is definitely someone that you should go towards. But yes, I had a consultation with them, sorting out my colours for this year. So that's exciting. And yeah, that is pretty much where I'm at in regards to just kind of like where I'm at with my prep and stuff. So yeah, and then obviously, like I said in my last video, I'll start posing with Alicia very, very soon. 8 week out, I'm going to start sort of posing with her. I'll start my own posing a little bit earlier. Sort of that 10 week out mark, I'll start really, I'm obviously posing after sessions at the moment, but I do ramp it up to 2-3 times a day come that 10 week mark. So that'll be where it's at. And then obviously when I start with Alicia, we just basically fine tune things because there's a couple of my poses that I do want to tweak. Just because I'm obviously a different frame, well, not a different frame, but different size now. So I do want to make those changes. So that will come when I go and see Talisha, and then we'll kind of bring on my, my individual routine and my presentation and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. And everyone needs the fridge, Intra pre-workout drink going down. So I have 30 grams of Sustain in my intra pre-training drink. 30 grams because, again, I want to try and keep that in throughout prep if I can. I do my own food, so Tom will give me my macros in regards to the protein, fats, carbohydrates through the day, and I basically just pick and choose the food that I want to utilise. So I will try and keep in my intra carbohydrates, pre-workout carbohydrates, whatever you want to call it, for as long as possible, and then I will remove it because I do like to eat whole food around my training window. But for the time being, it has been in all my off season, especially Sustain, because it's a really good product. I will then also have a little bit of creatine, so 5 grams of creatine going in as well. That's again a staple supplement that everyone should be using. It's one of the most researched supplements out there, just for general performance of an athlete and things like that. So definitely get that in your supplement regime if you haven't already got that in there. I will also have Dial In. Now this is Dial In and Pumpage is like my go-to pre-workout stack at the moment because I am not a huge stimmy kind of person, but I do like a little bit of get me up and go. So dialing I find is like the perfect balance between a little bit of stim, but some really, really good focus as well, because obviously it's got some nootropics in there and stuff like that. So it kind of gives you enough energy to get you into the zone, and obviously with the nootropics, you're in the zone already with that, but you don't find that after you're completely pummeled because of the amount of caffeine going through your system. So dialing is a nice little kind of balance between the two. I've used really high stim products in the past, and they were great, but I just don't find that I need them really that much anymore, and I think I completely burnt out my my want for stimmy products going forward. So because I had an incident where I accidentally had like 800 mgs of caffeine once, and I just can't really go any closer to like super stimmy stuff anymore. So because that just almost made my heart explode. So even with Dylan's not even that high in caffeine. Like it's got like a total of 350 mgs of caffeine in it, so I'll normally half scoop it. So that is still considered quite a high amount of caffeine, but I always half scoop it, so I probably get roughly half of that, because again, I just don't really like too much stim going in. So, but I like the focus element of Xylem, so that's why I use it. And then pumpage, again, if I feel like I don't need Dylan, then I won't use it. I would just simply use pumpage. Obviously, a panel of really good pump ingredients, and it's always been my go-to for just a little bit of that element of more pump during a session, because who doesn't want more pump in their session? So, so yeah, that's kind of like my go-to in regards to my pre-training kind of drink. At the moment, it hasn't really changed much since ever, to be honest. I just like to keep the same things going in. I did use Do Not Fucking Miss for a while, but again, I'm just not a stimmy person. If you love stims, that is the way to go. Like I said, this is obviously still at 350 mg of caffeine in it, but I half scoop it. So even if you want, again, like a little bit of an edge, half scoop the dial in, you'll be all hunky-dory. And obviously they do have Prepare Pro, and they do have Do Not Fucking Miss, which is slightly higher on the caffeine scales. This is probably the lower one, so if you want, again, a little bit of kick, definitely go for Dial-In, and you like that kind of nootropic vibe from a pre-workout, then definitely get Dial-In. Upon waking, I will have the Hydration. Now, Hydration is one of their newer products, another really fucking good product, really, really good. Obviously, if you're interested in the panels and stuff like that, all the panels are on Trained by JP on their website if you want to go and grab yourself some. They taste fucking ace as well, and I'm really poor with just my general hydration and stuff like that, so actually having a product to keep me ticking along is really good, and also just makes me more aware of how much water I'm having through the day. So I'll have that upon waking. Obviously with my JP supplements as well, but I actually have run out, so I'm hoping that I can go and pick some up today from my monthly order, so we can go through that when we get home after training. But normally with my first meal, I have my omegas, that kind of stuff. I'm someone that doesn't really eat that much fish. I've never been a fishy person, so and obviously you can get like elements of omega-3s in other various parts of your diet, but for me, the majority of my omega-3, my healthy fats and stuff like that come from that supplement. So you know, and obviously JP have an abundance of different forms of omegas that you can buy from the website. I use their Pharma Pro because it's the highest level of kind of quality of omega-3 out there, in my opinion, so that'll always be in my first meal, and obviously alongside like my Claire, my T3 and my T4, which obviously I'm taking at the moment. I also have 1 IU of growth in the morning as well, and this is the interesting bit, people will just skip to this drugs bit. I also have 1 IU of growth in the morning and 1 IU growth in the evening, and that's kind of just where my drugs have been for a while now. Like my cleanse at 80, my T4 is at 150, and my T3 is at 25, and my growth at 2 IU a day, and that's just where things are sitting at the moment. My primobolan at the moment is 80 mgs per week, and that's just increased, so that will just keep ticking along. Obviously, a lot of this is always on the JP forum if you're interested to go and having a look, and also we do have a WhatsApp, and what we'll do is we'll link my Instagram in the box below. If you don't already follow me, obviously give that a follow, and then if you're interested in getting involved in that WhatsApp group, message me on Instagram, and then I can obviously send you out how you go about getting onto that WhatsApp chat. But yeah, everything you want to know is in that. It's all a little bit more in depth, because obviously I can tell you dosages and stuff on here, just to make people aware. Actually, you know, the reason why I talk about my drug use is it's important for people to know. There are so many people out there, and you can make this into a reel, to be fair, lads. There are so many people that say, so I saw something on Instagram the other day where someone was like, oh, you know, my drugs, you know, it's between me and my coach. I'm a woman who uses assistance, but yeah, I won't talk about it because it's between me and my coach, but I do want to increase the knowledge and everything around the like reason why you use them and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, and things like that. And if you're someone, especially a woman in this industry, who wants to raise awareness of PEDs in this sport, then fucking talk about them. How do you expect people to know, and how do you expect people to learn? How do you expect people to understand the risks of taking drugs if you're not going to fucking talk about them? Now, I understand that there are certain aspects to people's lives where they can't, i.e. your job, etc., whatever it may be. But if you have a platform and you are able to talk about them openly, like myself, talk about them. Because there are quite, and still a lot of people out there who are talking like they have never taken drugs in their life, but they do take drugs. And that creates that unrealistic expectation of these young women who want to be like someone who is using drugs, but firmly believe that they can do that naturally when they actually can't. So if you have, like I said, the platform to talk about it, then fucking talk about it. Even if you just say, hey guys, like, you know, this is my cycle at the moment. You don't even have to reveal dosages. Just be like, okay, so, you know, I'm on Primo, etc., etc. And the reason for these is X, Y, and Z. You know, this is the risk and reward. This is why I'm doing it, etc. Don't be someone that says, oh, you know, I'm keeping it between me and my coach, but I want everyone else to learn about it. Fucking talk about it. Be that role model. Don't be someone that shies away from it, because I don't actually care about what people think. I want people to be aware of what actually goes on behind the scenes as a physique pro, because a lot of people, again, don't talk about it. So that raises that unrealistic expectation. If you want to be a women's physique pro, or women's physique body, or a women's bodybuilder pro, or whatever it may be, you've got to understand actually what goes on behind the scenes to get to where they want to be. And obviously, me being someone who wants to be an Olympian, I want to show you guys what it's taking. And whether you want to see that, like, it's down to you. If you want to see that, I know a lot of people are interested in, because let's be honest, there aren't many people as open as talking about their drugs as myself, and that's not me tooting my own horn. But I think a lot more people need to talk about it, and it is getting better. But instead of being that person that shies away from it, be that person that makes a change, because that's really important. Because again, you don't just become a pro and a competitive pro at that by just taking 5 mgs of Anavar. Let's be honest, okay? So that's kind of everything that I talk about drug wise. Will be on that WhatsApp group chat, and then obviously on the Train by JP forum, which you can get involved with, and stuff like that. So that's that. That is my obviously pre-workout training drink in my little Venom. I don't even really like Marvel or DC, to be honest. Is it DC or Marvel? I don't actually know. Is that DC? That tells you everything we need to know. Yeah. That's Marvel. That's weird. Is that actually? Are you sure?
1,000,000%. I would bet you £100.
Okay. I don't want to do that. Okay, well that's that. So yeah, we're going to go and train push, and it should be a good session. I like push. Has been a little bit stagnant in my pressing at the moment, on the Atlantis. So if you've watched push before, or you followed on my Instagram, I do like a couple of sets of pressing and then some bits and bobs around, and one of my presses has been a little bit stagnant, so I'm going to try and tweak a little bit on there today and see if we can get that moving again. Everything else has been progressing really nicely through prep. Like, I've not really had any stagnant portions, which you shouldn't really this far out when food is still relatively high, and you know, performance is still good, and energy is good, and food is going in and stuff like that. So you shouldn't really see stagnating points in training, but it seemed like I did. So obviously, speaking with Callum Raystrick, who does my training, we've just kind of made a few tweaks. So I'm going to kind of just see how that goes today, and then just go from there, really. But that's what I do for my my pre-training drink, creatine, dial-in pumpage, and obviously some stain. I'll neck that on the way to the gym, and then yeah, get started. Here to do a push, as stated earlier on in this video. Starting push with some lying cuff latch raises. Again, my sessions haven't really changed much since I started working with Callum on my training. So with my push, I'll go for it anyway. So we'll start with lying cuff latch raises. We'll then move to a press, and then, so it's like an incline press to start with, and then a flat press, and then a pec deck. And then we'll go to some machine lateral raises, and then some push down to my triceps. Yeah, that's pretty much everything really. The sessions have been going really steady. Like I said, just a few little tweaks that need to be made to the pressing, but other than that, you know, numbers have been moving really nicely. One question that I do get quite a lot is warm-ups. So how much do I warm up? What do I do warm-up set-wise? That kind of thing. Now, I typically just go off feel. So when it comes to lateral raises, and especially like heavier pressing, especially as my weight comes down, I do spend a little bit more time warming up, but then it's nothing excessive. So I'll kind of warm up with the 8 to 10 rep ranges in the first two, where it's really, really light, just to get blood into the area. And then closer I get to my working set, I'll do like 2-3 reps, and then I'll get to my working set and begin then. It's very much off a feel. If you feel you need a little bit more warm up, then just have another warm up set. You don't have to be so strict to the book that I only need to do 2. If you need to do 3 warm up sets, then do them. But I would always recommend tapering the reps down. So like I said, the first couple sets will be like 8 to 10 reps in that warm up phase. And then the closer I get to my working weight, the less reps I'll do. I'll just feel it out and then I'll be good to go. But like I said, if you need more warm-ups, take more warm-ups. Don't feel like it has to be by the book. Because they're quite nice to do a bit of a drop set on, like just to really etch the most out of them. I've always done a bit of a drop set on those, just again to like get the most out of that movement. I write down what I get in the drop set, so like whatever rep that was, I'll log it down, but if I forget, I forget. The main bulk of the sets are logged, but if I feel I just want to get a little bit more out of it, then I'll just do a drop and then leave it at that. So, but yeah, the main bulk of the sets are tracked, obviously. Nice. So much like on the laterals, so we had 2 sets on the laterals. So one set being like 8 to 12, and then the back off being like about 12 to 15 on these. So normally I would do the Atlantis incline, but because someone's on it, I'll just do the flat press first. So spend a little bit more time warming up on the flat press. First set is 6 to 10, and then back off is 10 to 15. So just see how it goes. My pressing, like I said, it's been a little bit up and down at the moment. Mainly only on the incline, so we're going to make a few adjustments to that today. To just see if we can get that moving again. But this one's been moving really nicely, so we'll see what numbers we can get out today and then go from there. But another warm-up set is going to go down. So since kind of working with Callum, I know what numbers I want to hit in this session, so I know that I've got a rough idea of where I want to be rep range wise, where I want to be weight wise. And last week this really did fly, which was nice to see. So we might go for it. I might do another warm up, and then we'll fucking lift some tin. It's what it's all about, right? But yeah, I do have a rough idea. Let's get straight to the point now.
Squeeze.
That's what I say about environment. When you've got people like Max around you, who you don't even need to say a fucking word. Nod, he'll come over, he'll help, and that'll be it. And then when he sees me struggling, he'll help. Like, that's why environment is everything. Because sometimes you got to be around people who just get it. He didn't have to do that, but he wanted to. That's why environment is key. that one done. I normally do like a wider grip on here, but today we're gonna go for the neutral because I've just been toying a little bit with those hand positions, and currently, like, just with the way I can set up, the neutral grip for me at the moment is just so much better. I just can get so much more of a drive with my elbows, because when you come across the chest, you want to think about your elbows coming together, nothing else. So when I have a little bit more of a neutral grip, I can drive my elbows together just that little bit more. You would have seen, like, on the flat press, I'm quite a close presser anyway. I tuck my elbows in a little bit more. People may argue you get like a fuck ton of tricep, and naturally you will get a little bit more tricep than if you were wide. But when you're in a neutral position, I can just feel I can get a little bit more of a better drive and elbow coming together. I mean, I can think about moving it with my triceps alone, but when you think about that mind to muscle connection, driving those elbows together, you're naturally going to get a little bit more pop on the chest. I've always been quite a good presser anyway. Just from when I was young, I used to do fucking press ups and shit in my bedroom all the fucking time. And I used to bench a lot when I was younger as well. So when it comes to pressing, it's always been one of my stronger things. But the more I kind of learn and develop in this business, in this industry, I think about, you know, what actually works, okay? So yes, we may all think that wide is better, but for some people it isn't, some people it is. So, and also you got to think about flexibility as well. Shoulders are notorious, especially when we're on our phones and stuff nowadays. We're quite rounded shouldered, so we need to think about, okay, so what is the most advantageous position for myself? Some people make, like Big Joe over there, he uses this neutral grip here just because he gets on so much better with it. And with his dodgy shoulder, wide is just not something he's going to do. So after speaking to people and learning from Callum and stuff, like driving up with this neutral grip, I may do less weight, but regardless, if I can get a good contraction and things on this with a different hand position, then I'm going to go with that a little bit more so.
Let's go now, let's go. Yeah, solid time, let's get it. Come on. Lovely. Yeah, keep it moving. Solid, come on, that's good. Come on, again. Right. Yeah, lovely. All you, come on, up. Yeah. Good, come on. Drive. Come on, finish. Yeah. There you go.
Thanks, sir.
Spot up there. Good. Nice, come on. Good reps. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, kid. Here we go. Yep. Here we go. Come on.
That fucking right arm. Ooh-wee. Like, obviously tempo is really important. I teach that a lot to a lot of my clients, you know, when you're doing like compound work and stuff like that, tempo is really important, but towards the back end of it, then just try to squeeze that last little bit out. Like I said in my last video, yeah, keep that tempo, but towards the last few reps, just try and fucking squeeze them out. Like, as long as you're not in a position that's just going to injure yourself like a fucking twat. Like, I probably wouldn't do lengthened partials, like, one after the other on the flat press with a weight like that. It's just fucking dangerous. If it was like a back off and you wanted to get some lengthened partials there, then great. But like, I wouldn't. It's basically like pick your poison, right? Like, if you want to get the last few little bits out on like the pec deck and that, I'll squeeze the fuck out of them and get those done. But tempo as a whole is very important to keep an eye on. But towards the back end of a set, when you want to just get the last few bits out, then just fucking squash them out. So I think like the past couple of sessions, I've been in here and I've just needed to lift some fucking tin. I think that gets lost a lot of the time because people are like, you need to be more optimal. Sometimes you just gotta come to the fucking gym and just lift some fucking weight. Like, that's why we do this, right? It's because we love training. Instead of being so fucking optimal all the time, just fucking lift. Like when you're surrounded by people like fucking Joe Ballinger and Max and, you know, people like that who just fucking lift heavy, they love to grind, they love it. Like, sometimes you just want to come in and do exactly the same. Instead of being so fucking hung up on what's more optimal, what's the strength curve, just fucking come in the gym and lift. Because it helps me keep clear up here, and I'm sure it does for a lot of other people. Instead of being like, oh, the strength curve isn't optimal on this machine, just fuck off the lift, innit? So normally I would do this on a different cable, hence why I'm trying to work out the weight. But sometimes if something that you normally use isn't available, just try and find something very similar to it. Obviously it depends on the cable and like the strength stack associated with that cable, they're all different. But if you can find and get somewhere as close as possible, that'll do, do you know what I mean? So you just gotta kind of work out. I know sometimes it can be quite stressful for certain people, or just in general. That's why I don't really go to many different gyms, because I have my very set ways here. But again, like if something's busy, like the press was earlier, you've just got to make do, and you've just got to find something that's very similar to what it is. Instead of just stopping your entire session and getting cold and risking injury, just move things around slightly, or just find something that's very, very similar to it. So just 2 sets on tricep. So they are long rope, kind of slightly up, like you see me lean into it, but I'll be slightly above, kind of parallel here. And then what I'll do is I'll come into more of an overhead position and just kind of get the last little bits out. I only really do, 2 sets of triceps on a push day, 2 sets on an upper day, and then I'll do 2 sets of biceps on a pull day. Obviously the reason being I've always had really good arms, so they don't really need as much stimulus as other areas of my body. Because the minute my arms get too big, they completely overpower my shoulder. And bodybuilding's about symmetry, right? You don't want just ridiculous arms overpowering your shoulders, especially as that could affect my taper on stage. So a little bit of a touch up on arms every week, so we can focus that volume elsewhere on areas that need it, instead of just volume on areas that don't so much. They still get the stimulus, but not nearly as much as the body part that needs to be brought up, essentially, okay? With ab training and stuff, I have 4 movements I do a week: cable crunch, rollouts, leg lifts, and like a medicine ball crunch with an emphasis on that stretch portion. And I'll just do 1 after each session. I will probably increase it the closer I get to stage, just for midsection control with posing, because I do find obviously a lot of ab work helps with midsection control, obviously. So I'll do 3 sets of cable crunches between 10 to 15 rep range, just a really good focus on squeeze. A lot of people don't think that actually the abdominals are a muscle as well, so then you need to focus on that stretch and that contraction portion, much like you would with any other muscle. So again, you'll see me really kind of come up for the stretch and come down to the squeeze. Admittedly, in most off seasons, I haven't really trained abs, to be honest, because it's always been something that I've not really. And if you've watched my videos way back, I used to have this mindset that because me and Connor did a lot of heavy compound stuff, my midsection would get an appropriate amount of stimulus through bracing. Now, obviously, as I've learnt, and I also used to train abs religiously when I was like 12, and then I just stopped for a bit, and then I came back up and started doing them. So this off season, Callum's made me do them. Like it's been a very prominent part of my training, and I haven't actually spoken about it really. But I honestly think that my midsection is probably going to be the best as on stage, just from the input of ab training through my off season and stuff like that. I don't really do vacuums either. Vacuums are not something I really do. But don't get me wrong, I might incorporate it as I start getting leaner and stuff, but it's not really something that I've warranted wanting to do really. So home from push, really happy with how that went. Really solid session today. Honestly, like some of my sessions, as like I said earlier, with like pushing that, they've been a little bit hit and miss. But recently, like once I had a chat with Callum and just adjusted volume slightly and stuff like that, and we just kept an eye on it, things seem to be flying again. Like that flat press, I think that's actually like an all-time PB. I suppose that's the heaviest I've done for that amount of reps. So really happy with that. So yeah, and obviously the incline press, I've moved my hand position around ever so slightly. So numbers are a little bit tiny and skew on that one. But I'll start building that back up again, just because I wanted to amend that hand position because obviously my shoulder and that. So I want to kind of keep that in line with, especially with the connection being much better with that neutral position. I'd much rather keep that kind of where it's to and just build the numbers back up again slightly. It's not far off my heaviest, so it's not too much of a problem, but it will grow nicely, especially now like with the volume being amended. But now, see, come home. My post-workout is typically cream and rice. I just like to have cream of rice after. A lot of people have cereal and stuff like that, but I just prefer cream of rice because I know it sits well. And with JP, they do such a variety of flavors. Like a lot of them are really good. And at the moment, I got sticky toffee pudding, which is a really good flavor. And then I'll have 40 grams of performance protein. Again, so many different flavors that you can get. I haven't had a flavor that I don't like yet. And I will go through all the flavors because I'm a whore for flavors. When I get into prep, I will just have all of them. So that's kind of what I have post-workout. 40 grams of whey, 100 grams of cream of rice, and then about an hour after, I will just have some chicken and potato, and then before bed, I will have essentially just like a yogurt and berries meal. Basically, I've had this diet for forever. I really like it. I just amend the amounts when Tom tells me to amend them. And that's it. Like I said earlier, I do macros, so I do all my food. Tom just tells me how much of what he wants me to eat, and I just do that. So say, for example, I do want cereal after training one day, I will just swap it out for cereal. But I don't really like to make too many changes to the food sources because I just get really funny. Like in off-season, I have a little bit more variety, but when it comes to prep, I just get a little bit more funny with food sources and stuff. Because yeah, it's just the way I am. So 100 grams of cream of rice, 40 grams of protein, and then about an hour later I'll have chicken and potato. Roughly about 200 grams of chicken, about 195 grams of potato, and then like I said, the yogurt meal in the evening. So yeah, so that's basically what I do post-workout. I would normally also have Unwind, which is obviously another product by JP, but I ran out of that. I'm still waiting on the Athlete Box, like I mentioned earlier, and I didn't pick up today. So yeah, that's a really good product just to help you kind of come down from a hefty session, because obviously you just pump in, adrenaline's going, and that just helps you bring you back down to earth. So yeah, I would normally have that after, but I'm just waiting on my order. So yeah, so that's what I have post-workout. Nimbus, he's the man of the hour. He don't give a fuck. He's not as cute as Murphy. No, he's my boy. Anyway, so that is today wrapped up. So a little bit of an insight into obviously what I do before the training, what I do after training, my training in general. Obviously did a little bit of a Q&A as well for you guys because I know a couple of people have asked obviously for that, and they've asked for a day in the life, like I said in the beginning of the video. I hope to do like more of these in the future because again, a lot of people have asked. I will have a videographer with me for some of my shows this year as well, so the content from those will come as well, because I don't really think a lot of people are taking you through kind of like what a women's physique competitor does on the run-up to shows, so you'll have an insight into that. Plus it went really well last year, having obviously 444 visuals with me when I was in Alicante, and you guys loved that content, so I hope to bring something more like that to my Instagram, my YouTube this year as well, so you can have a good insight into what we do when it sort of is that close to stage. So yes, so keep your eyes peeled for that one, but obviously if you like this, please let me know, like, comment, subscribe and all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram, smallbutmighty20, and let me know whether you want to see more stuff like this. And we can get it sorted. I can do more stuff like myself, just doing some stories and stuff with like what I do in a day in life. But to be honest, it's the same shit. So what you saw today, I'll do tomorrow and the day after and the day after. But you guys really like it. So if you want to see more, let me know and I can get that sorted. But thank you for the support always. Have a really good day, guys. And like I said, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Give me a follow and I'll catch you soon. Nice. Yeah, buddy.